and welcome to Yoga with Maggie. Today we are focusing on heart opening and back bending. Don't worry, nothing too horrendous. We'll take it all in our stride. We're beginning on our knees, kneeling up and just taking notice of the natural curves in your spine. So relaxing the shoulders back and down, taking a nice deep breath in and exhaling that out. Just beginning to slow things down. Notice how your body is feeling. Any little niggles today. And bringing the hands to prayer, taking a breath in, linking the fingers together. As you exhale, pressing the fingers away, rounding the back, chin to chest, reaching as long as possible. Then as you breathe in, reaching up, arching the back, and then as you exhale, reach the arms wide, keep the arch in the back, and then bring the hands back to prayer and let your back come back to its natural curves. So let's try that again. So take a deep breath in, link the fingers, press the palms away, round the back, chin to chest. Inhale, reach high, arching the back, tilting the pelvis forwards. Exhale, the arms wide, bringing the hands back to prayer. Taking a breath in and letting the back come back to its natural curves. Once more, breath in. Exhale the hands forwards, rounding the back, chin to chest. Breathing in, reaching high, arching the back, tilting the pelvis forwards. Exhale the arms wide. Bringing the hands back to prayer and your back to neutral. Placing the hands on the floor in front of you, coming up onto hands and knees. So make sure that your hands are underneath your shoulders, fingers nicely spread, knees are underneath your hips, back is in neutral at the moment. We're going to take one round up into the top of cat as you exhale, dropping down into pose of the cow as you inhale, and then coming back to a neutral spine. Then we're going to take a look over our right shoulder towards our right hip, and then come back to centre and take a look over the left shoulder and come back to centre. Let's try that again. So to the right, so you're closing the gap between your right shoulder and your right hip, and then coming back to the middle, and then closing the gap between your left hip and your left shoulder and coming back to the middle. One more up into the top of cat, rounding the back up, chin to chest, dropping the belly, lifting the chin, opening the chest, and sit back to child's pose. Reaching long in your child's pose, pressing the hips back to the heels, coming up over the top of cat, tucking the toes under and coming into your first downward dog. So have a little pedal out. And then walk the feet to the hands at the top of your mat. Take a breath in. And exhale, forward fold. Knees bent or straight, hands towards the floor, crown of the head towards the floor. Take a breath in, hands to shins, lengthen the spine. Exhale, forward fold. Breathing in all the way up. And forward fold, Uttanasana. Take a breath in halfway, Ardha Uttanasana, and exhale, forward fold. Breathing in, reaching tall. This time we're going to take a side curve to your right and coming up nice and tall, and to the left. And then before we take a baby back bend, we're going to make sure that our thighs are spiraling inwards and upwards. We have our pelvis tilted forwards and abdominals tucked in, chest opens, and then we reach tall and then into a baby back bend to start with, and then exhaling, forward fold, hands to the ground, stepping back with your right leg, knee to the floor, sweeping the arms up, dropping the hips towards that front heel, gaze is upwards at your hands. If your spine is feeling okay, we may go into a slight back bend here, and reaching the hands forwards, tucking the toes under, downward facing dog. Coming forwards to plank pose, knees to the floor, chest to the floor, sweeping through into a low cobra. Tucking the toes under, downward facing dog. Lifting your right leg off the floor, stepping that foot through between your hands, dropping the left knee to the floor, untucking the toes, sweeping the arms up, gaze is upwards, maybe introducing that slight back bend and dropping the hips towards the heels, but don't let the hips collapse. And then reaching the hands forwards, downward facing dog, knees to the floor, chest to the floor, sliding through into your cobra pose. Shoulder blades back and down, chin lifted, and then tuck the toes under, downward facing dog. Lifting your left leg off the floor, stepping that foot through between your hands, bring your right foot with you and sweep all the way up as you breathe in. And then we're going to take a baby back bend, so remember, spiral the thighs inwards, tuck the pelvis under, squeeze the abdominals, open the chest, reach up and back. As you exhale, forward fold, hands to the floor, coming up halfway, stepping back with the right leg. This time leaving the knee off the floor, sweeping the arms up, and your right arm is going to carry on back to your right thigh or the back of your knee, or maybe your calf if you're particularly flexible. Bringing that arm back up, placing the hands on the floor, step back to plank pose. So either knees, chest and chin, or chaturanga, half press up into either cobra, or press your feet, tops of your feet into the floor for upward dog to downward dog. Lifting your right leg off the floor, bending at the knee, opening the hip, bring that foot through between your hands, and then sweep the arms up and take your left arm all the way back to your left thigh and the back of your knee, bringing that arm back up and reaching forwards, stepping back to plank pose. So either knees, chest and chin, you choose your vinyasa, or half press up, step or roll over your toes to either upward dog or cobra to downward facing dog. Lifting your left leg off the floor, bending the knee, stepping that foot through between your hands, bring your right foot with you, breathing in. We're going to take a side curve to the right. So reach reaching the spine long and high before you curve over. And the same before we do our back bend, so making sure that pelvis is tucked under, chest is open into our back bend. Coming back up and exhaling, forward fold. Stepping back with your right leg, rotate the heel to the floor, keep the hips facing the front of your mat, sweep your arms up, and we're in a warrior one. From here, we're going to reach forwards, and we're going to load the front foot, and we're going to float that back foot off the floor for a warrior three. If that's too much for your arms, you can have your hands in prayer supporting your chest. Wherever your arms are, we're then going to sweep them back to our hips as we carefully place that foot back on the floor. Sweep the arms back to warrior one and open to warrior two. From here, reverse your warrior, reaching high, and then we're going to come forwards and bend the elbow for a nice side angle stretch. If it's okay with your back, you can reach your arm over your ear for an extended side angle pose. So dropping the hips as low as they'll go, keeping the weight spread evenly between both feet, making sure that back foot is glued to the ground and there's not too much weight on your elbow. Coming back to warrior two, straighten that front leg, turn that left foot forwards, hands to your hips and forward fold. Leave your hands on your hips for now. See if you can just encourage the crown of your head towards the floor. And then slide the hands down the outsides of your legs and just encourage that head a little bit more towards the floor. And then placing the hands on the floor underneath your shoulders, bringing the weight into the fronts of your feet, under the balls of your feet. Reach the hands out wide if it's okay with your back, and reaching up, and turn the front foot open and come back to warrior two. Windmill the hands over, step back to plank pose, and your vinyasa, so either knees, chest and shin, or chaturanga, upward dog or cobra, to downward facing dog. Lifting your right leg off the floor, bend the knee, step that foot through between your hands, rotate the back heel to the floor. So sweep the arms up, hips are facing the front of your mat, and we're in warrior one. So if you remember, we leaned forwards and then we floated that back foot off the floor. You can have your hands in prayer if that's easier for you. And then we swept the arms back by the thighs as we bent the front leg and carefully placed that foot back. And then we opened to warrior two. So from there, reverse your warrior for a nice back bend, and then coming forwards, elbow to knee, and either arms straight up to the ceiling or extend it over your ear. If when you look up all you see is arm, just try and open that chest a little more. Move the shoulder back. And then coming back to warrior two. I'm just going to turn around so I'm facing you. You're going to turn your right foot forwards. You're going to link the fingers behind your back and then folding forwards. Let gravity help with lifting your arms. Don't force it. Crown of the head towards the floor. Knees can be bent or straight. Up to you. Maybe have a little wriggle around with your shoulders, try and get them a little more comfortable. And then coming up halfway, rest your hands on your back, reach the arms wide, coming all the way up, turning your your right foot forwards, coming back to warrior two. And then I'm just going to switch around again. You're going to windmill the hands round to come into your plank pose. So knees, chest and chin, or chaturanga, upward dog or cobra to downward facing dog. And then we're just going to have a little pedal out again in our downward dog, swaying the hips. Taking some nice deep breaths. And then we're going to walk the feet to the hands, cross at the ankles and come down to a seated. So from here, we're going to flex the feet. We're going to make the spine nice and tall. Take a breath in, reaching up. And as you exhale, forward fold. So just explore where you get to in relation to your legs, maybe to your shins, maybe to your ankles. Maybe you can get beyond your feet. Pressing the backs of your knees down into the mat. Reaching your spine long. Then walking the hands back in. We're going to tuck the feet underneath us. So we come to a kneeling position. And then we're going to come right up on our knees. Now you can have your knees hip width apart. You're going to tuck your pelvis underneath you. You're going to engage your abdominals. And we're just going to take a slight lean behind us. And then we're going to come back upright. So take a breath in, lean back, and exhale as we come forwards. So once more, breathe in and exhale. You should be feeling a stretch down the front of your thighs there. Now we're going to make it slightly easier for us to begin with. So we're going to tuck our toes underneath behind us. And this time, as we breathe in and lean back, we're going to reach round with our right hand and see if we can tap the back of our right heel. And then we're going to do the same on the left. So breath in, tap the left heel, come back up. Then we're going to try both hands at the same time. So take a breath in, reach round. Can you find your heels, opening that chest and coming back up. Should we try that again? So breath in, reach back, touch both your heels, shoulder blades squeezing together to open up your chest, and then come forwards. Now you can keep it the same and do that again, or if you want to make it slightly more difficult, untuck the toes so your heels are now a bit lower. So we'll try again just with the right hand. So take a breath in, lean back, touch your right heel, coming back upright. Take a breath in, lean back, touch your left heel, coming back up. Both hands this time. So breath in, lean back, touch your heels, they're there somewhere, and come back up. Now, if you were successful in managing to find your heels, good. If not, come back up onto your toes. This time we're going to stay in the back bend for a couple of breaths. We'll see how we go. So, taking a breath in, reaching back, finding your heels, lifting your chest, opening your heart, lifting your chin to the ceiling. Nice deep breath in and exhale. One more. And this time exhale up. Well done if you managed to do that. Fantastic. Then we're going to sit back onto our heels, knees nice and wide. We're going to come forwards for a nice child's pose. So maybe have a little wriggle side to side. And then coming up onto hands and knees, you can round your back up into cat. And then drop it down, round it back up. And then we're going to come to a seated, but you're going to leave your right knee where it is. You're going to stretch your left leg forwards and sit down. So, left foot flexed, right toes pointing to the back of your mat. So the sole of your foot should be upwards, the heel tucked in as close as possible. If you've got big calf muscles, maybe just roll those out of the way so that you can tuck that foot in a little closer. So this is called half hero pose. So from here, we're just going to place our hands on the floor behind us, and we're going to try and keep that knee on the floor. As soon as you feel that knee lifting, then you've gone too far. Come back. So just see where you can get to. Maybe you can get your elbows to the floor, and we're still encouraging both hips down onto the floor. If you're particularly flexible there, you might be able to lie flat on the floor. I'm not going to go there today. So from there, we should be feeling that nice stretch down the front of the thigh there. And then we're going to gently walk ourselves back up. We're going to stretch that right leg out. And we're going to tuck the left foot in. So remember, sole of the foot upwards, toes pointing to the back of your mat. Roll that calf, that fleshy calf muscle out of the way. Tuck your heel in as close as you can to your hip. Encourage both hip bones down to the floor. Flex your right foot. Try and keep that knee in line with your hip. And then place the hands on the floor behind you. And just take a moment there. And then maybe coming to one elbow or two elbows. Try not to let that knee pop off the floor. Maybe lifting the chin to the ceiling, opening that chest, squeezing the shoulder blades together. And you might find that one side is easier than the other. So for example, I think, just about I can get to the floor on this side, but not on my right hand side. So trying to keep that knee on the floor, taking a breath in, and then as you exhale, if you've gone to the floor, elbows tucked in, coming back up. Okay, so we've done half hero pose on both sides. If you want to try the full hero pose, now this isn't for everybody, and you might need, for example, a block or something to sit on whilst you attempt this, if it's not comfortable for either your knees or your hips. But if you're going to give it a go, you're going to bring your knees together, get rid of those calf muscles. So see if you've got enough room there to sit your hip bones down on the floor, and we're trying to keep the spine nice and long. That may well be plenty for some of you. I can already feel that stretching here. If you're able to, place your hands on the floor behind you and keeping those knees glued to the floor. You're going to see if maybe, just maybe, you can get your elbows to the floor without your knees popping off the floor. You might wish to lift your chin. You might be able to lie completely flat on your back. I'm not going to go there today, but you're welcome to give it a try. And that would be your full hero pose. So take a nice breath in. And as we exhale, we're going to come back up. We're going to come forwards onto our hands and knees. tuck the toes under, and come up to downward facing dog. Have a little pedal out, little sway of the hips, enjoy that rush of blood back to your knees. And then we're going to walk the feet forwards. We're going to come to a seated. In fact, we're going to come down onto our backs. So, bring your feet in as close to your hips as possible. Maybe even touch the back of your heels with your fingertips. So, sucking the belly button towards the spine. So already you can just feel the hips wanting to lift off the floor. So let the muscles go, relax, hips go back to the floor, engage your abdominals, tuck the pelvis under, and you can feel the hips just beginning to lift off the floor. So once more, engaging the abdominals, tilting the pelvis, hands down by your side, chin to chest. We're going to start to lift those hips, tucking the shoulder blades underneath us as we go. And then as we exhale, we're going to round down through the back, one vertebrae at a time, until the hips are back on the floor. So let's try that once more. So taking a breath in, engage the abdominals, tuck the pelvis, start to lift. Shoulder blades together underneath us, chin to chest. So from there, we're going to take a breath in and lift our arms and drop the shoulders into the floor. And then as we exhale, hands to the floor behind us, keeping that bridge high. Taking a breath in, opening that chest, and then as we exhale, arms and pelvis back to the floor at the same time. So we're going to put that all together, so it's going to be arms and hips together lifted. So ready? Take a breath in and lift. Reaching high, exhale the arms down to the floor behind you. Keeping that bridge nice and high, take another breath in. And then as we exhale, bring the arms and the pelvis back to the floor. Okay, we're just going to do that once more. So make sure those feet are still in close to your hips. And then taking a breath in, tucking the pelvis, lifting those hips, chin to chest. Arms to the floor behind you as you exhale. Pressing down through the heels, squeezing the glute muscles. Taking a nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, bring the arms and the hips back to the floor. Stretch out those legs. Turn your head from side to side. Give your knees a hug. It's a nice counter stretch for the spine. Rocking from side to side to give that lower back a bit of a massage. Stretch your left leg away. Place your right foot on top of your left thigh, right arm out to the side. Take that knee across your body. Nice deep breath. Coming back to the centre, change legs, give the left knee a hug, place it on top of the right thigh, take that knee across your body, head to the left. Deep breath in. Bringing that knee back to the centre. Give the knees a last hug. Stretch them out along the floor. Get yourself into a nice comfortable position on your back, palms towards the ceiling. Let all the muscles go now. They've done their work, they can relax. Taking a nice deep breath in. And exhale. And again, fill those lungs, open the chest. And exhale. Just take a moment to notice how your body is feeling right now. Maybe compare that to how it was feeling at the beginning of your session. And you can stay here as long as you like. I'd quite like to stay here a bit longer, but I'm going to finish the video now. So, drawing your feet underneath your knees. Take your knees over to the left and your head to the right. And then drop the knees over to the right and the head to the left. Draw that left arm over across on top of your right. Take a moment here. And then placing the left hand on the floor, gently coming up to a seated, comfortable position. We're just going to take a twist to your left, looking over that shoulder, spine nice and long, and then twist to the right, and then coming back to the centre, rolling those shoulders back and down a couple of times, and then taking a nice deep breath in, hands to prayer, namaste. Now you're free to enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you enjoyed it. Press the like button if you did. Any comments, anything you'd like to see in the next video, please comment on the comment section below. Many thanks. Feel free to share the video as well. Thank you for watching.